Today we are visiting Wendy Morris, and she has very impressively created a garden in just under a year. Hi Wendy.
Hi, it's lovely to meet you, Andy.
Pleasure. And what a day we've got for it. It's beautiful
Stunning
weather. And yeah, thank you so much for inviting us over to look at your garden. And already I'm seeing loads of pollinators, the butterflies and the bees are out, which is great. It's a fresh project, correct?
Absolutely, yep.
And how long have you been here?
We only moved here the 8th of November just last year.
So it's a really fresh project.
Absolutely.
It doesn't look like on first impressions that you've only been here in that. So I think we'll come to this area, I suppose, later. But I think where I would really like to start is the back garden.
Of course.
Perfect.
Come on to it.
Let's have a look. Wow. First thing is well done you. What a full and rich garden. And obviously we're benefiting from great weather today, which really emphasises like the garden. But it's such a rich tapestry of planting, so many zones as well. And you know, it's kind of the first impression, but loads of areas. And you've got your cosmos, which is kind of connecting it all together. But I suppose where I want to start is what was here first before you moved in? What was the canvas you inherited, I suppose? It
was a very difficult terrain, very dry, hard soil. The garden was almost on a slope, which made it even more difficult, particularly in January weather, trying to do anything with mud. There was basically nothing here. We've actually put everything up, including the fencing. The only thing that was existing here was the back panel fencing. So we have literally started from scratch.
Okay, and you've got this very beautiful centralized greenhouse. Is that something that the garden is based around?
Absolutely. I think when we got the house, I had noticed there was a circular area. And back in the 70s, crazy paving was a real big thing.
It's coming back as well, crazy paving.
It is. But I thought, well, what could I do with that? I went to have a look at some greenhouses and that was the one. As soon as I walked through, I mean, that is it. That has got to be the greenhouse. And I suppose, in a sense, for me, I'm able to kind of, I feel enveloped in it, but in a really, really lovely way because it's capturing the whole garden.
Yeah, because like I said, you've got all these pockets and this style of greenhouse allows you to see it all as well. So you really feel like not only that you're in the garden, but you're really within, like you said, you know, like that, the big hug that it gives you, which is fantastic. And, you know, you've got lots of little pathways and things like that. Did they, I suppose, did it go borders first or pathways first? Or was it kind of bit by bit you worked your way through?
That's the way I work, Andy. It's kind of like, I'm not a prescribed planter. I just happen to go with the flow and see what works. So we were doing the pathway at the same time as my wife over this area doing her bit with the plants and the soil. So it was a kind of really, it was a strong team between both of us to kind of get it established.
A collaborative and shared experience.
Absolutely. Made with love.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Let's go sit down and then we can talk about all that.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. Okay.
So like we said, it's a beautiful day for this and to sit in your garden. And as you've already said that, you know, you had quite a hostile environment when you moved in here. And I mean, it's so clearly not that anymore. And as we sit here, you know, you can hear the gentle, you know, tinkling of your water feature, and I'm getting all the scent from these sweet peas here. And we've got all these zones, and you've said that you kind of work through it in different ways. And I suppose I'll let you talk about what kind of areas speaks to you most.
I think for me, it sounds a bit odd to see you dress a garden, but I used all of Caledonian horticulture products because I wanted to dress the garden after we'd done the planting. And I think that was just the icing on the cake for me, and it transformed it completely. And I think that's what you're seeing as you walk in today. Yeah,
so you've predominantly used Caledonian horticulture. And is that have you done Green Goodness? Have you gone with the Kelpie, or is it a hybrid?
I tend to do, well, the Green Goodness I've used out at the front of the garden because it worked really, really well because of the soil that was existing there. We used the Kelpie for this area. I just preferred it for this back area.
You can
to
see
match
its
the soil.
effect. It's
Absolutely.
very rich, and you can see
Yep.
that effect it's had.
And all the topsoil, again, Caledonian horticulture, because we had to lift the lawn and restart again because there wasn't a lawn, if you like.
So it's a complete renovation, isn't it? And you've got this beautiful little path coming through here to an area over there where you've got your wildflowers. And I see, little wildflower areas dedicated to different sitting areas as well, which I love in a garden. It's so important. Are there any particular plants or shrubs or trees that are here that mean a lot to you?
Yeah, there is. My wife and I had been in our old home for 23 years, and again we'd taken on a garden that had nothing, so we established it well over 23 years. We bought another tree and planted it over there, and I put a stick, saying Rhona and Wendy's forever tree. And it's just a reminder to family as well, this is what we're about, this is who we are. And my father, I've managed to transplant a rose which we reckon is about 80 years old.
Wowzers.
So over the period of time, I've managed to transport it and touch wood successfully.
Within the multiple beds, you've got so many different elements of planting, and it's all, well, I say predominantly over here, especially, it's all tied together with this cosmos. Is that all grown yourself by seed?
Yes, absolutely, from seed. Again, I was kind of worried because you're moving to a new environment, a different kind of environment. So even thinking about where the sun positions itself on the greenhouse, you have to think of all of that. However, again, so far so good. I've maybe lost a few with the high winds, but in saying that, it's a nice chain around that area where the greenhouse is.
So through border design, you've got a lot of perennials in there.
Yes.
Do you allocate spaces within your borders for annuals, or do you kind of pop annuals in where you see the spaces?
I pop annuals in where I see the spaces, including alpine strawberries.
Okay.
Just to fill up that space, because it's a beautiful thing to walk through your flowers and have a wee pick and a munch as you're going.
That's a great tip.
So yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of now reminiscing because I know sweet peas are only annual, but that resonates. My father, who passed away in 1979, and it was my dad who actually, in a sense, taught me gardening, and it was the first thing I ever learned to grow was sweet pea. So for myself, it's such a strong reminder of my childhood and my dad.
That's really interesting because they are dotted throughout, even just, kind of the short walk we took. I could see in several places you have those sweet peas. And like I said before, just sitting here, that scent is just glorious. And really there's nothing quite like it, especially on a day like this. It really travels very quickly, doesn't it?
Very much so.
Another one that I do want to pick up on because they're mightily impressive are your sunflowers. I'm looking at the one behind you, and it's so tall, and it's really only been supported by, just by a cane. So, condition-wise, here, how exposed you are? Do you get a lot of wind here, or
it's not too bad?
It's a lot borrowed.
Yeah, we're kind of protected, I think, because of the nature of the property, because we have houses either side of us as well, and we deliberately put up a slightly taller fence, not for really privacy. It was really to protect the plants in many ways. So I think that's why these are so well established. But I usually, they were grown from seed, grown in the greenhouse, potted again, and finally when they were established and strong enough to stand on their own, that's when they went into the soil.
Wow.
And that's the result.
Great. And I suppose before we move on to look at some other elements of the garden, I really like how you've eaten into the space. What would your tips be to anyone who has inherited a space or has a new garden and they're wanting to create a space that's full of flowers?
I think what you've got to do is, the first thing that I actually did do was the sensible thing by checking what kind of soil we had. Because I think I said to you earlier, and it's like almost being an artist. You've got to have the right tools to have the art piece in front of you. And if you don't know what kind of soil you're working with or dealing with, then you're in trouble. You're going to invest a lot of money into plants. You're going to plant it in the ground. It's going to look wonderful, particularly perennials, but they will not come back necessarily if you have a poor soil. Plants need to thrive. So that's, I think, why we chose Caledonia, because the plants are thriving and they always have with them.
Yeah, that's a fantastic bit of advice. Hardscaping is hardscaping, but a garden starts with its soil and its soil health as well. Wonderful. Well, let's go and explore a little bit more.
Cool.
Cool?
Yep.
Alrighty. I'll let you lead the way.
Okay.
And loads of areas that are planted up, so both sides of the house are busy with lots of little areas. You've got the rhubarb in there, you have tomatoes on the other side, which I absolutely love, and the whole idea of using every space possible is really evident here. And we're in your front garden, and I'm immediately kind of drawn to the raised beds on the grass. And may I ask why we didn't go into the ground and that you've chosen to have the raised beds?
I think probably for me as a gardener, a gardener per se, but I like to have more of a visual. Sometimes the surface for me can look too flat, and if it's too flat it looks too sterile, even though you're surrounded by flowers. So using the beds elevates the garden for me, and it's much more pleasing on the eye, not only for myself but also for our local community, because it's lovely when neighbours pass the fence and they're like, oh, what have you got in your beds? And it involves the community. So that was the reason, just to kind of
it does lift it up, and it kind of, you've got so much texture within the actual planting itself, but it does give that extra element there. And then do you follow a strict rule of what you plant in these, or does it vary?
Again, I'm just go with the flow. Whatever I think is going to work, I'll give it a try, and luckily everything I've put in has worked.
A lot has happened in a very short space of time. What do the next plans look like?
Oh my goodness. Probably having Caledonian horticulture just up the road from us would be handy. But probably what I would like to do in terms of, I'm saying visualising, I think there's more vacant wall space in the area to the back garden. And the area where the wisterias is a vacant wall, so in my head already it's like, right, something needs to be there. It's too clinical. It may look pretty, and it will, and it is pretty, but
you want to fill it.
I need to have much more going on up fences and around, to almost, in a sense, what I said to you earlier on was envelope the garden.
Yeah, you're gardening your space for you and your family.
Yes.
And I suppose that's what it's all about, really, because you're the ones, the wildlife and the pollinators, they're enjoying it. That's very evident, and they will do for many more years to come. But you're creating a space for you to enjoy, to be in, and for it to be your little slice of sanctuary.
Absolutely, our forever garden.
Your forever garden. I love that. Well, thank you ever so much for inviting us here today. It's been a real pleasure.
You've been wonderful. Thank you, Andy.
It's amazing what can be achieved in a really short space of time, just with a sense of togetherness and teamwork. Wendy and Rhona are prime examples of that. And two things that I'm really walking away from today are the lessons of that when you're beginning a new space, really you have to look at the soil for your planting and making sure that you've got really good foundations. And then the second thing is how when you're creating a garden, don't forget to create it for those who are going to be in it. It's their garden, and this is a space that they're going to enjoy for many years to come.